All right, Daily Stoic, Day 6. Where, who, what, and why. A person who doesn't know what the universe is doesn't know where they are. A person who doesn't know their purpose in life doesn't know who they are or what the universe is. A person who doesn't know any one of these things doesn't know why they are here. So, what to make of people who seek or avoid the praise of those who have no knowledge of where or who they are? Marcus Aurelius Meditations. You know, there was a comedian named Mitch Hedberg. He was at a interview and a radio DJ asked him, "So who you are?" And in that moment, Mitch had to think, is this guy really deep or did I drive to the wrong station? How often are we ask simple questions like, who are you? Or what do you do? Or where are you from? And most of the time, they are just superficial questions. How often do you even consider or really think about those questions? We just do the generic AI, NPC responses when we get those questions. I do this, I'm working finance, blah, blah, blah. But most of the time, they have really nothing to do with our essence, all right? Maybe our role in society or the NPCs we act and behave as we go about our lives. But as the intelligent entity inside, not really, man. Those questions cannot really express that. And how often do we even really, sit down and contemplate on who we are and what do we stand for? I would say probably not much, because life is like a river, and if you're not swimming or flowing or even know where the destination, you just let it carry you wherever it takes you. The viewer, can you really answer that question? Like, have you ever really taken the time to get clarity about who you are and what you stand for? Or are you too busy chasing unimportant things, mimicking the wrong influences, and following disappointment or, you know, unfulfilling or non existent paths presented to you? Um, I would definitely say this is really relatable. It's one of the things I've been going through recently. I had goals, or I thought I had goals, right? But I realized that they were not actually goals. Then dieting isn't really a goal. Because I never really set goals. I'm decided to really go about and change my life around. And so I know I'm going to make mistakes. And one of the mistakes was I'm going to diet or I'm going to build this game, right? Well, that's not a goal. That's not concrete. I think one of the useful things about programming is that you can't really make the computer do these abstract things, right? Like, if my goal is to diet, I could diet today, right? But what will I achieve? Nothing, because I dieted today and I dieted. Or if I put lose weight, what will I achieve, man? Nothing, man. Like, we have to be so explicit with our goals. And once we are explicit with our goals, we really have to start looking ourselves in the mirror and says, are we capable? Are we the person that's able to achieve these goals? A clear goal for me would be lose 1 pound a week until I reach my goal weight of blah blah blah. Right? But then once we have a clear set goal that we feel is within our grasp, you also have to ask yourselves why. Because motivation fades, right? Motivation most definitely fades. Especially, and external motivation isn't something we can really rely on. So all we really have is intrinsic motivation. And for me, losing weight, right? Why do I want to lose weight? And truth be told, I don't really want to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, right? The only reason I wanted to lose weight is just so life could and society could treat me better. But do I really value losing weight, being skinny? And not really, right? Not really. But then that's fine. I just have to reframe things in a way that makes sense, right? So that makes me question my values. Like, what do I value, right? Is losing weight aligned with a value I do have? If I don't value beauty in of itself, for me, well, I could do. I mean, I could learn to value beauty, or I could value being thinner and fit for health reasons, right? But I don't know. I never wrote it down. I never really thought about it with clarity. And I realized something is wrong, fundamentally wrong. Because I never really been that person before. It's my first time. Hell, I would even say, yo, be nice to yourself. Be gentle. Remember, this is your first time attempting life. And because of that, you're going to make mistakes. And once you do decide to lock in and improve your life, just remember, you never genuinely locked in your life, and you're going to fail. And you have to figure out why you're failing and be nice to yourself. Don't be an ass, because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So you got to go in and figure things out, make mistakes, and accept those mistakes. No one's perfect. You could chisel away at yourself and get yourself as perfect as you can. But that's about it, though. Like, you got what you got, and you can only chip away and chisel. Remember, we're the sculptor and also the sculptor. But if you never learned how to sculpt, you're kind of fucked, right? If you don't even know what you're trying to sculpt, you end up with what you end up. So have a sculpture in mind and build yourself. That's about it. Bye.